Good morning, Oren Elkayam, CEO of Mobilicom. Happy to have you here today. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Very excited. We got 1,000 people watching this right now, mostly on X and a few. Now, actually, the YouTube link is there a YouTube link public today? Even on YouTube too, but X is the best, man. Any case, I'm so excited today. We'll see how it goes. Just a quick couple disclaimers. Mobilicom is a sponsor of StoryTrading, at least for today, for this interview. We'll see if that continues. And then also want to have a couple disclaimers. I do own Mobilicom in my retirement account, my long-term account, and a small size. We'll see if we increase that. Currently don't have a position in my trading account, and my positions are subject to change at any time. And I'll be transparent with you when I do that, including maybe buying during if I do that during the interview. So, Oren, I'm very excited about the opportunity to hear your story and work with you and see if we can support you in your growth towards profitability. Your market cap is a beautiful, fit for us in terms of raising awareness. You're at $29-30 million market cap, and you're in a very exciting space, the drone space, right? Which has a lot of tailwinds there. But let's dig in to see what the future holds for you. So I want to start, Oren, with a little bit about your personal background, when you became CEO of this company. I don't know if you were the founder, but when you got involved, how long you were with the company, why you started the company or why you joined the company, and what your goals and visions are from Mobilicom. Let's start there.
So my personal background, I was born and raised in Israel, where I was lucky enough, everybody going to the army in the age of 18, women and men. And I was lucky enough to be accepted to an elite program that allow you to do your engineering degree before you're enlisted to the army. And then I went to the officer schools, the Israeli West Point, and then I was injected to the Air Force R&D Center and the Israeli NASA, and I spent much time over there dealing with the most sophisticated things on Earth, and that was a real pleasure, very interesting for me. Then I continue into the commercial market with my co-founder and partner, Yossi Segal. We both been in the same program together, so together we continue into the commercial market and establish and being part of different companies in the silicon side of things, in base station of networking, in different areas. Mobilicom is our latest venture. Started on the technology of wireless communication, mesh communication with no infrastructure, but we pivoted into the drones robotics space about 7 years ago. We managed to identify that the market is going to be a very interesting market that requires unique capabilities in communication, but also in other fields. Our vision for Mobilicom are clear. We would like to set Mobilicom as the key provider of the technology building blocks, the cyber, the software, and hardware for drones robotics manufacturers. And if to be particular, small-sized drones and robots, anything that has to do with autonomy, anything that has to do with enabling the drone to operate, enabling them to communicate, enabling them to secure themselves against different cyber attacks. This is Mobilicom. In a nutshell, we are building the Bosch or Delphi or Continental of the drones and robotics space, being one-stop shop of the critical technology building blocks within all of those drones and robots.
Okay, great. Nice initial overview. Can you tell me what your vested interests might be in the company in terms of equity?
So together, I think that the insiders have more than 10%.
More than 10%. Okay, that's you, and you're a co-founder?
Yes, I'm one of the co-founders, myself and Yossi Segal, which is the VP R&D of the company, the smartest man I know, definitely in Mobilicom, the smartest person. He was on the IEEE, the American standardization body, was in the steering committee of the IEEE, and a voting member on the steering committee, well known in the industry, and has great wisdom in this field.
Okay, great. And without getting into the specifics of the company goals and the TAM and what you want to achieve there, what's your personal goal with the company? Like, where do you want to see this in 5-10 years? Are you trying to build a company to sell, to flip? Are you trying to, what's your goal? Why are you the CEO and co-founder of a small publicly traded company? Where do you want this to go?
So personally, I'm very excited from the opportunity to build a company that will be able to deliver the corner stones and the critical technology elements to manufacturers of all drones and robots, especially small ones. I see that as an interesting industry because it's in a pivotal stage. We understand right now that the government and defense business is booming around that and starting to appreciate the capabilities of those autonomous small vehicles on ground, air, and sea. And I think that the commercial market will experience the same thing. I'm excited to bring the cyber that is missing to this market. I'm excited to bring a very immune and secured communication for that. I'm excited to bring other capabilities to support the autonomy, because all of those will be AI operated elements. And this is what I would like to build a cluster of capabilities that will enable this industry. And whenever you will open the hood of any drones or robots, especially the small ones, I would like to see several systems by Mobilicom inside. So yes, there will be a different logo on the top, but eventually significant size and revenue and volume of that will be Mobilicom.
Okay, but in terms of your personal goal, would you like this? Are you trying to get the company to a point where you could sell it and profit that way, or are you not thinking about that? You just want the company to just get big and you want to operate a bigger company? What's your personal goal?
My current focus is building first the Mobilicom and then merge into that additional solutions so we can grow as a company. This is my focus right now.
Okay, got it. I want to show you something here, which I mean you've seen, but I want to show our audience. The first thing that caught my eye when I came across this company last year was, at the time, I think your market cap maybe was $10 or $15 million, and
Seven.
just at what was that?
7
million, like a year ago. And I was looking at your team here, and between your team and your products and the intellectual property that seems that you have. I wonder if you can talk about, the value of the assets of your company. Forget about the future and the revenue growth for a second. In terms of, let's say you have no growth, right? And you would just want to sell this company based on your team, based on the assets, based on the intellectual property. When I looked at this last year, I'm like, this doesn't look like a $7 million company. Looking at your board of directors and everyone on the team, and again, all your products and intellectual property. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what have you built here, and how much is this all worth asset-wise?
So we gradually build different technology solutions in this space and gather more and more IP, more and more patents that we file and we have a lot of know-how in-house. As I mentioned, one of the key persons building these capabilities and technology is Yossi Segal, well known in the industry. We've built together silicon and chipset that went into Samsung, LG, Motorola, and other phone makers. In the past, we've done a solution that went into infrastructure of mobile and communication, sold across the world, in the United States, Japan, Europe, and so forth. So he's been important building these amazing pieces together. We have Udi, which was the CEO of a cybersecurity company for automotive and vehicle industry. So we took him in order to build the next evolution of Mobilicom several years ago, which is around adding the cybersecurity, which is much needed in the drones and autonomous platforms, because they are moving around with no safety and security on that. We have great marketing from Anthony, which is expert in marketing in the United States and build over there around that. We have great manufacturing capacity of people that have done production and scaled companies into tens of thousands of systems being deployed in different markets. So we took VP from the biggest one of the biggest, which is one of the biggest drones, robotics, and defense manufacturers and provider worldwide. So to join us, and then if you are looking on the board level, we have the additional members that have done amazing success either in the cybersecurity or in the defense drones robotics market.
Okay, and is there a way you can kind of put a value on that? Because I've looked at a lot of other small drone companies, and it looks like your team and your IP is far superior to a lot of, I mean, them. There's Xena that just reported this morning. There's Arcat and UMAC and Paladine. I'm sure all of these companies. When I look at your market cap and everything you just went through compared to what those other guys have, it almost, I don't know, from an IP and staff perspective, it seems like you guys have something superior going on.
So I like some of the companies that you've mentioned. I think that some of them are doing amazing stuff, and we are partner of several of those. I believe that it's all around building the right clusters and solutions together. Going back to Mobilicom, yes, we've built an amazing portfolio of technologies that we own down to the bit. We developed that, we own the patents, we have the know-how, we are establishing that, we are not buying and reselling anything. Until now, all the critical assets Mobilicom own across the different software, cyber, and hardware families of products are owned by Mobilicom. And that speaks volume about our capability to grow, expand, and scale going forward. Because as the market will be mature and as the industry will ramp up, you will need to work with those that hold the technology and able to maneuver that in order to build a success. And then this is what Mobilicom has done. So across the cyber world, that it's something that we're working on the last 4 years, behind the scenes, and then creating together with others the cybersecurity standards in the United States for this world, and then being first to deliver cyber solution into this market, and then being certified by different governments on that, and combat proven is one example. But we have the same thing on the communication and networking side. We have on the ground control station, we have that on the cloud capabilities and software and so forth. And yes, we concentrated during the first section of the company or growth of the company on building all the critical assets inside. From here onward, we would like to leverage our position. We would like to leverage our activity with the tier ones across the world. The fact that we are certified by the US government, the Israeli government, and others, in order and certify and respectable vendor to bring additional solution and integrate additional solution and sell a more comprehensive set of solution to the customers to expedite and accelerate the industry, and more than that, protect the industry, because cyber will become a critical piece. I'm not sure that many people understand the urgency of the cyber in autonomous market or autonomous operation, but we are on the front of that. So yes, we have an amazing technology. If you compare it to some of the peers, I would like to say that we, from some of the names that you've mentioned, we have equivalent. We are not competing, but we have equivalent technology in different fields that is the sum of several of those companies. Each one of them separately are hundreds of millions of dollars. So if you ask me if I should be 300, 400, 500 million dollar market cap right now based on what we already have, I would say that would be a fair value.
Okay.
And my personal goal is to get there.
Well, I can't wait to talk about how we're going to unlock that value and what some inflection points may be. Like you said, a lot of these other companies, it just seems like what you have is a lot more proprietary than what a lot of other companies are just putting things together with not necessarily a ton of specialized expertise. It looks like you guys are, for its tiny market cap, it just seems so proprietary. Seems pretty interesting. But all right, we'll get more into that pretty soon. But I want to talk a little bit about some logistics and political stuff. Are you based in your headquarters? Is it an Australian and Israeli company? Is it an Israeli company? What's the setup here? How does it work?
So the setup is that the mother company is an Australian company that owns an American company and an Israeli company. We are triangle. I'm based here in the United States with other team members that is leading activity in the United States and the process of scaling and working with our customers and the government and so forth. There are other team members doing the same in Israel, which is exporting those things into the world. And there is the Australian entity. So altogether, we are acting as unified.
The parent company is actually an Australian company?
Yes.
And what's like
the R&D center is mostly in Israel, and business is mostly in the United States.
It's okay. And then like, what's the purpose of having that Australian parent company?
It's part of their history, actually. It was created because when the Australian wanted to expand their tech sector in their equivalent stock exchange, they approach different companies that have unique technology and ask them to join. So we IPO'd in Australia, and that was part of the funding we got in order to grow the company and focus on the drones robotics. We've done that. We got to the next phases, and therefore, from that moment onward, we understood that NASDAQ and America has to be the key market. We then listed on the NASDAQ directly, and then eventually we closed the listing on Australia. So part of this activity is that for the marketing and business approach, there is great advantages of having an American as well as Australian companies. Obviously, for America, we believe in the local market. We believe in the government being scaling the business. We understand the defense and the commercial sides of those, and we believe that both will flourish and be the biggest market worldwide. That's why I'm here. That's why the company is registered and listed over here. On the Australian side, if you are going worldwide and selling it to Europe and other places, less conflict, less problem, less political issues, and it's used as a great door opener and to do business worldwide, even across some Gulf countries and other areas as well.
You mentioned the U.S. Side of things. Like, I want to talk about the politics a little bit with Trump and MAGA movement, Made in America, Made in USA movement. With a lot of these announcements that have been coming out of the White House administration about drones, there's been a big push about, it seems like, made in America kind of thing over there, right? We don't want to get drones from China. We want them made in America. How's that work for your company? You said the R&D's in Israel, the business side's in America. I don't know where the manufacturing happens, but how does that work? Are you poised to benefit being, an Israeli company?
So being an American, Israeli, and Australian company, multinational, yes, it's definitely helping us. Focusing on America, we are a strong believer in the fact that America has to establish strong foundation across the board, from R&D to production and to growing the business of drones or robotics. We are a great believer in that and always have been. We've been part of the standardization body, part of the working with the government over here and doing all the certification needed to do business in America from an American company. So yes, we have NDAA, for example, which is manufacturing according to the manufacturing, developing, and across the board of all the assets of the company based on the standardization in the United States. We've done the trusted cyber validation of United States, being part of as an American company. We've done the Blue UAS certification with the DoD and been accepted and validated again, and did that with flying colors. So we are a great believer in the fact that America has to establish everything across the drones robotics in order to lead this market worldwide. Production, we have capacity of production across Israel, United States, and the Philippines, which is an ally of US. And when everybody else moved to high production rates in China, we've done it in the Philippines, believing that as an American supporting facility, that you get the cost reduction that you need, the quality that you need, but it's safe to be used in the United States. So although we have production and done production in the United States and in Israel, scalability also could come from Philippines, which is a US ally. So all of those are working for us to win and enjoy the fruits of what we are strongly believe in, that America has to be self-dependent on this space.
Okay. So what I'm trying to understand, I know like we've interviewed the CEO of UMAC and ARCAT before, and it sounds like they're in position maybe to get some federal contracts. Are you involved with any? Are you just like strictly? Would you just be strictly a supplier to drone makers, or are you directly involved in any of the decision making at a federal level? Do they bring you in and talk to you at all, or is it an issue that you're not, purely an American company? Can you give us some insights into that?
So yes, we are in position to win such business. Eventually, we have to understand that the business of Mobilicom, much like by UMAC that Alan is leading, is selling to the OEMs, the manufacturers of the drones robotics. This is the majority of the business that we will do. Yes, you can do projects and activities with the government, which we do, but majority of the essential business of the company, ours and others, will come from selling to the OEMs, the manufacturers of those drones robots. Saying that, we are strong believers in working top down and bottom up, meaning top down, working with the government, with the entities on the commercial market, with the commercial customers and FAA and the rest, on the government and defense, working with the DoD entities. And yes, we are speaking with the Marines and the Army and SOCOM and all of them, and involved in all of those activities of the industry. We are also working on contributing our share of activities with the industry here in the United States from standardization activity that we've done on the drones robotics. I personally went and met and advocated on behalf of the industry with congressmen and senators on the cybersecurity, believing that it's a crucial thing. I visited the Hill twice during last year's meeting personally with senators and congressmen, and explaining the issues that we have in America on cybersecurity of drones or robots. So yes, we're active across the board, top down and bottom up, with the government and from the OEMs.
Okay, great. I'm going to share this screen over here. So you're active across the board. You have some customers and that are big names that I recognize, right? Rafael and Airbus and Elbit Systems, United States Department of Defense. I guess that's Israeli Ministry of Defense. Right? You got some big names here, and you just reported first half revenue this morning of about $2 million. A lot of other press releases over the last couple quarters where you got like an order from a Tier-1 for here. Actually, it's in the press release this morning. You're saying this is for, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically scale mass production, right? Here it is. He said growth driven by transition of key Tier-1 customers into mass production, right? So you have what seems like should be big money. So far, we're at 2 million first half. What am I missing here? Like, what do you need? What needs to happen to start getting much bigger revenue numbers?
Okay, so when we are looking on the company growth and scalability, we are looking on 3 pillars and 3 engines of growth. And the first being current existing customers, Tier-1 players in the industry, in the United States, in Europe and Israel, that are shifting from doing initial production in order to seed the market to move to mass production in order to deploy large quantities. Large quantities can come by winning programs of record. I'm sure that if you spoke with Red Cat and UMAC and Paladin, you understand the program of record, which is a government business that is dedicated for 5-10 years sometimes, which is then extended if needed, with dedicated budget that is guaranteed over years to field massive amount of units. So we have some of the Tier-1s that we are working with have such significant program of record. They are working with us on those things. They are progress. The American Tier-1 player that we're working with, which is one of the, let's say, I don't know, top 2 or something like that, if I have to analyze that in our field. So they are already working on several programs of record and shortlisted for few. We have good belief that they will win portion of this American market and then some international market, and we will win with them. We have
sorry, what are you able to name that customer?
No. If someone is going backward and analyzing all our PRs in this field, they will be able to understand that because we've named that in the past. But being one of the top tier players in the United States and worldwide in this field, and definitely providing to the government in I would like to say
But
billions.
when you say you're talking about like a large multi-billion-dollar company?
Yes, it's a large conglomerate from United States
Okay.
with I don't know, over $5 billion in sales and a lot into defense as well. So definitely leader of this industry worldwide, but definitely in the United States. They moved from initial production cycles. If you are looking on what we said in the past, they have done several sequence of quarter after quarter after quarter initial production orders from Mobilicom to scale and start to deploy different units in the United States. And we've seen that from 2024 and beginning of 2025. But now they scale to larger amount because US has decided to accelerate. We saw the Pentagon decision, and they have to accelerate, and deployment of battalions have to start from January this next year. So we have to deliver to them before that. So they will have the capacity to deploy battalions in the US DoD.
So
that's
do
the
you have
start.
some visibility into the second half of the year? We're already in August. I guess there's 3.5 months left. But is there some hockey stick growth coming for you soon based on these things you're talking about? And
Yeah,
when will that happen?
I think that we are already experiencing that because as they will win and lock those programs of record, and sometimes even before that, as the last order has demonstrated, we moved from purchase orders of $200,000 roughly to 1.4 was the last one on a quarterly or almost quarterly base, and that shows that it's 6-7 times more, and that shows there's a ramp up that is already happening. Okay, and they will accelerate as they will win more and more. They are chasing 6 programs of record in the United States and 4 international, definitely being one of the largest in the top players in this field. They will win portion of this market, and doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 10 program of record. It's amazing for Mobilicom because one program will move Mobilicom into tens of millions of dollars in revenue on a yearly basis. And 2 or 3 tens of millions of dollars, and you can understand 5,000 units with them on a yearly production rate will bring us to $15 to $20 million, and this is based on one program. You can imagine what will happen if they will win 2 or 3, which is feasible, and then we have on top of them others around the world that is doing the same thing. So we are experiencing that. And the last PO demonstrated that we moved from $200,000 purchase per PO to 1.4, and we anticipate that those will continue.
That's right. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually covered this when that news came out. Let me pull that up. That looked like one of your largest orders ever, from what I remember. Was it? It was just recently, a couple weeks ago.
And we see a sequence of orders from these customers and others.
July 21st, $1.4 million order, right?
Yes.
And was that your largest order ever?
Yes, because it's not a yearly order; it's just a quarterly thing.
Okay. So then, in terms of the when is all this gonna start hitting? You only report. I guess we're not gonna hear from you till like February or March again. When
No. We are voluntarily. We believe in being transparent with investors. We are releasing a quarterly, although as a foreign issuer, we are obligated to report twice a year. We are releasing a quarterly report, so you're expected to see our announcement in the next quarter as well.
So in like 3 months, you reported today, yes. So like mid-November.
Yes.
Okay. So then all this great stuff you're talking about.
Let's look on the numbers. If you're looking on the numbers, and sorry for interrupting you, you can see that today we have announced that we have $1.4 million in revenue that we accomplished, and then a backlog of 1.6 or something, or 1.5 and 1.6, and then together we are already 3.1 million, okay, which is the full year last year.
Okay. And then this hockey stick growth we're just talking about with all these programs of records, you're hoping that even one of them hits. Again, when might we see that on the top line? Is that something we see in 2025, Q3 or Q4, or is it more a 2026 event?
So I think that the deliveries will be built into 2026, but some of them are asking for acceleration. So it really depends on the government decision on how fast to move. We see a great movement on trying to accelerate programs. The recent purchase order came to our partner because the American government couldn't wait for a decision of program of record, but wanted to accelerate the activity based on the Pentagon and other decisions. So they started to deploy battalions. It could be that additional one like that will come, and definitely with the program of record, more of those will come.
Okay, I know we're a little over.
Decisions should be made. I don't control, the timing of the government, but decisions should be made in the coming quarter or two.
Okay. Do you have a few extra minutes? I know we put a 30-minute slot.
No, definitely.
Okay, good. I just want to ask you a couple more things. So, how about you mentioned some of these smaller ones. So that's the big one you're talking about. What can you tell us about, because we've been very early. Actually, our community is very heavy drone traders and investors. We're very early to the RCAT story and the UMAC and, OPTT and ONDS reported this morning, Ondas Holdings. I don't know if you're familiar with them, and Paladine. Yes. Right? Like, we're really steeped into this stuff. We're in the middle of all of it. And I guess my question for you is, are there any of those? Because I know we've been hearing a lot from UMAC. UMAC and RCAT in particular have been teasing very large contracts that aren't quite there yet, but like it always seems like it's right around the corner. Do you get a piece of that if they get some big business?
Alan and UMAC are providing mainly the hardware solutions for small, or let's say miniature drones or FPV drones. This is the key market that they are chasing right now in the commercial market, but also pivoting into the defense. Mobilicom hardware, by the way, is more IP based. Lots of software, hardware inside. A lot of software and firmware inside the hardware. Our typical element is sold between $2,000 to $5,000 per piece, and you have multiple of those in a drone system. So you understand the magnitude of those elements. And on the software and cyber pieces of that we are selling, it's additional SaaS model solutions. Those, yes, as some of the vendors that you have mentioned will scale, we will scale with them. We are not competing with UMAC. We are actually partners of many of the companies that you've mentioned over there, and some of those are customers.
And RCAT as well?
RCAT are not a customer yet, and they are dealing with their own small drone solution, but we believe that we have great things to support their growth and the needs of this industry and standardization, especially around the cybersecurity going forward.
So if we see some good news from UMAC that they got some big order or whatever that is, that's something that you think will directly also benefit you?
No, we don't have something that UMAC is buying from us. They are selling different things, mainly smaller pieces of the drone hardware like engines and small computers. We are selling to similar Tier-1 players. To be exact, we have large amount of Tier-1 manufacturers of drones robotics. We already locked them. We are in the design. As those OEM will succeed, we will be there.
Okay.
I think that Alan is trying to close some of those deals. We have equivalent deals that we already locked and done.
I see.
And this is already in the process. Wow. We don't have to do anything more.
Okay. All right. Beautiful.
What I can add to that is that the fact that Mobilicom's products were added in the recent months to the Blue UAS, which is the government of United States certification for certified, recommended, and trusted vendors in the drones robotics, and we have several products over there. Okay, that will open the door for us to be endorsed and used across the industry in the United States, mainly for the DoD and federal business, which does accelerate additional OEMs and Tier-1s that are now integrating with Mobilicom. So if you are looking on the growth of the company, first is the current customers moving to mass production, which is already happening. Second is the fact that we have Blue UAS certification and being endorsed and recommended by the government here. So that's opened the door, and more Tier-1s are right now doing more integration, and it's unlock DoD fast track business for us. And then the cybersecurity across the different offering that we have, which is unique and leader position in the market, will bring additional growth into SaaS model solution, because you cannot have AI autonomous platforms and have zero cybersecurity or anything that is running and protecting those constantly, which we provide.
Okay. Now, this is the last category of questions here, which everyone is going to really be paying very close attention to this, because when you're a microcap company, the most important thing is when do you get to profitability? And related to that, really what all that's about is people don't want to be hit with surprise offerings, especially offerings with warrants and poor pricing and things like that, right? That's the stuff people want to avoid when you invest in microcap companies. So can you tell us a little bit about your cash balance, your capital structure, your runway, your cash runway, and then we'll get into the profitability a bit after that.
Definitely. So the recent report that was published today mentioned that we have about $7 million cash in hand, which is a very strong position to be when you are burning $260,000 a month. So our burn rate is very, very low. If you compare it to all the other peers that you've mentioned in the industry, wow, we have the lowest burn rate that I can see in the industry. And we have enough cash to sustain over 2 years with what we have cash in hand. Expecting that good news like the one that we already announced that shows that the train has left the station and acceleration is already happening. Okay, the momentum will continue. And we will be able to take this growth and move to self-sustained cash flow positive company with the funding that we have. Yes, there are other opportunities to scale faster, to do more, to acquire things, and then we might needs more cash. But for the organic growth of our business across the different solutions, what we have is sufficient to get to the inflection point as well into the self-sustained company and positive cash flow.
So what is your break-even point? Is it just simply another
$10 million roughly in sales will bring us to the cash flow positive position, roughly around there.
10 million sales.
Yes.
And it sounds like it's. I just want to say something. I want to make sure I'm not misrepresenting.
No, please, Ben, feel free.
Okay.
Go.
It sounds like you could possibly get to 10 million sales in 2026 if one of these.
Definitely, if one program of record hits, one of the many that our customers are working with us can automatically bring us theirs, or at least give us the backlog to be there right after. So yes, this is the idea. And this is without the innovation that we brought on the cybersecurity. I don't think that people understand the magnitude of the cybersecurity position we hold in this market.
Okay. And the going back to cap structure a little bit, your balance sheet is great, right? You have all this cash. You're pretty close to profitability. The only remaining concern someone might have is, are there any warrants out there that may be holding the stock down? Any entities out there that might be shorting your stock against some sort of asset they have? Can you speak to that a little?
Well, short position is always existing in the market. We cannot avoid that. It's a thing that everybody sees. It's volatile and changing, especially changing rapidly in the small cap space. There are traded warrants on the market. You can see our traded warrants from the IPO in 2022. So it was a rough year to get into the stock exchange and do IPO, but we've done it. And those are traded around, and those are, the exercise price is around $5. And we have additional warrants leftovers that stayed from $1.5 roughly. But those are not exercised because the holders believe that there are institutionals that won't hold it. And when I ask them, why don't you convert it? Because you're in the money, well into the money and profitable, they say that they are looking for much more. So this is the situation. We have, again, no debt, no convertible, no credit line from banks. We are very, very clean. We don't need those. And we intend to stay like that.
Okay. And last question I have for you is, if you do experience this hockey stick growth, this inflection point.
When you
do, okay, when that happens through one of these program records, will there be because you said you can't mention the customer, but will there be a press release about that, or do we have to wait till you report your quarterly earnings to find out about that?
You can see and chase, and you can monitor the deals. And actually, if people are looking on what I said a year ago, when we've been 70 cents and discussed the opportunities that we are holding in our hand. And we said, yes, we are seeding with our partners, the different market entities, and deploying across US DoD and with them. And then now you've seen a deal that shows that we moved from hundreds of thousands to over $1 million, 7 times the regular deal or POs that we are getting. So it's already happening.
Okay.
So continuing on releasing those things, and then we will also announce that, hey, they are moving to mass production, or their customers are moving to program of record and so forth, which is part of the deal, whatever they will allow us to mention, as it's a DoD business. So yes.
All right, very good. Full disclosure, while you were speaking, I did purchase more shares from my retirement account of MOB, just putting it out there. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Oren. Looking forward to some future updates. We'll keep track of your stock, and we'll keep our community abreast of what's going on. We're going to have to do a little due diligence, figure out which company it is you're talking about, and we'll monitor those deals. So that's going to
yes, there are few. It's also we have tier ones in Israel. We have those in United States. So in Europe and in Asia as well. So we have multiple of those. It's not just one. So track all of them.
All right, we got some work to do. Thank you so much, Oren. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.